Morning stuff, etc. So, we got one comment. There you go. A bit quiet. That's all right. Don't know if you got any audio either. Someone might be kind enough to comment that they can actually hear me because I've got my phone plugged in because battery's a bit flat. I can't have been on the phone all day. We've got tea and biscuits and Mark Osborne. Good day. William Henry, also good. Thanks, William. Yeah, I don't know if there's much happening. This might be the update, and that's it. We'll see you next time. Update done. No, there's not a lot happening, to be honest. Well, there's stuff happening, but it's all stuff I can't really talk about as yet. Had some wins, I guess. We've had some wins. Finished the 3 of these. The big one. Off that casting. And the small ones. No, I didn't buy another steam engine at all. That's not even an option at this point. There's other stuff, but no. Kevin, g'day. Got them finished, so they're for fridge, for his engine. Some oil covers, yeah, nice, sorted. All kind of going to fridges this weekend's a road trip to Dan's on Friday night, with a view to spending Saturday and Sunday doing stuff. There's lots of little jobs. Hey Peter. Crazy amount of jobs. Want to fit this in the bottom of the smoke box. Find a plug for it, and that gives us a washout point, the smoke box, which is an absolutely good idea. So that's a job. What else? This generator needs setting up, so we've got the bearings for that sitting here on the bench. Bit of shaft, a few other jobs done. Pin for that at some point, and a cross pin for that gear to put that back on. They're probably jobs that we got to do. Got to get a cardboard cutout for the motion cover so that plate goes on there. Someone asked about that plate. That's the little plate in brass, and there's one on the other side with Austral Engineering, which was the importer. So motion covers need to be kind of mapped out a bit because there's no real drawing for that I can find. So I've got them sort of sketched up, and we've got to just get a bit of cardboard and draw them out so we can actually make them and they'll fit. So that's a job. Hey Mark. While we're on that, went down to George Weston and bought some strip to go around the motion covers. There's some brass. Oh crap. That was a bit noisy. Inch by 8 brass strip. Hopefully they only had 1 metre offcut, so they had 4 of them. I think that's about all they had, to be honest. They obviously cut a lot of it a bit short and sold it, and they've got this left. So, hey James. Anyway, this has got to have a right angle bend in it, a flat bend with about a 3-inch radius, something like that. Here somewhere. Fingers crossed that this is actually long enough. We might have to get some more at some point if it's not. But the bottom one goes around flat and it's bent this way around the front, and then the other one is bent this way around the front, and then it's got a bend in here to come down around here. So you've got to think about how I'm going to do that. Anyone's got any thoughts about that, chirp, or anyone else, much appreciated. But it's got to be a flat bend, a nice flat bend, about 3-inch bend, something like that. Probably make a die with a clamp on edge plate and heat it and bash it around. I don't know. Anyway, that's a job. Could get a sheet of plate and machine a ring and cut it into 4 and fit that in, but then you've got holes and dirt and stuff when you're polishing it. Don't know how that works. Anyway, so that's another job. 4 bits of that I got from George Weston. It wasn't crazy expensive. 4 of them. About $60 Australian, so not terrible really. But hopefully that's enough to do the job. So we'll find some rivets for it at some point. I don't know whether to put like countersink rivets in it and polish it off smooth, or whether to put round head rivets in it and have them sticking out, which probably looks better aesthetically, but it's harder to polish. I don't know. No views. So to pull the pin on, hey Raymond, to pull the pin on all this laser cutting, which is motion covers, what else? Steering gear cover for me, and the top for the front for the steering gear cover for Mark. What else? Dust cover for that hole. What else goes on it? There's a bit of a list of things. There's cotters or lynch pins for the bottom of the ash pan, hold it all together. A couple of sets of them. There's, what else is on it? Some saw bench. Saw bench parts too. Or line boring parts for saw bench too. That's another job that needs to be cut. Waiting on Joe for a drawing for a piece that he wants cut. So that goes on that. And then we can pass it all in. So there we go. That's how that is. So that's a job. Get all that sorted. Got a Land Rover this weekend to scrape the... Back in the day, when you went to the auto shop or the parts shop, you used to be able to get this stuff. I can't even remember what it's called. All you car people might. Hey, Randy. You used to be able to get this quite thick, like 1/4-inch thick rubber strip with double-sided tape on it. You stick it along the side of your car to make it look good, and it's quite often had a chrome trim in the centre of it, something like that. It's black. Buffer strip, sort of bumper strip sort of thing. Terrible. But I've got to peel all that off the side of a Land Rover and get it ready to put some painted signs on. So that's a job for this weekend. And in exchange, I think Fridge is going to do which is really awesome of me, going to do the back brakes on the van. Probably that'll fix some of the problem. doing a lot of miles and paying a mechanic to do it seems a bit scary. It's a bit scary. Anyway, so they're all things. Yeah, life gets away pretty quick. In the middle of all this, right, I was asked and I did put my hand up to participate in a panel swap again for the hand-painted science group, like I always do. Interesting theme, more about that later. I've got thoughts about it. I think we'll do something pretty cool, a bit excited about that. Probably not as complicated as last time. There's only going to be a week's work, a couple of days work in that one. Try to pull it out pretty quick. So that's another thing. What else? I've had a win. There we go. You didn't miss anything, Dan. We were talking about you, not to you. No, we didn't. We did say that we'd finish these, so they're ready to go on the engine. We did say we'd go to your place next weekend or this weekend coming for a working bee, and if anyone wants to join up, we'll come down. That'd be great. On that theme, yeah. Going forward, I think we will be part of a. I don't know really. I'm not going to say that there is stuff happening on the steam engine club scene that or front that is very, very promising looking. More about that at some later date. Had a win with this, I think. Right, it's had a coat of primer and that's about it. But this is looking pretty damn good. This is the front for the Foden, the front of the cab. This had some issues, right? We printed one this way up, which was probably half decent, but because there's only the layer lines and this is so light, let's see, this is what happens. We've just busted that. Very easy to put pressure on that and break the piece out. And the same with the windows. One that's been sort of printed that way up, the windows just break out too. And even, you see, this is pretty friable across here. So, what we've done is made this in separate parts. I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't. This has got an overlap here and an overlap at the top there. And the middle one is overlapped. It's got a cutout in the centre. It's overlapped there. And this one's got an overlap on each end and it's flush on the front. So we've got something that's repeatable, and with a couple of coats of primer and some filler, it's going to probably be very nice. So at this point I'm happy with that. These window ledges probably don't need to be a whole lot better than that because they are covered, but we're going to clean them up a bit more and put some more filler in them and stuff. The cutout for the hood is pretty clean. It could do with some filler across the front, but that's kind of covered anyway. There's a cutout there for the bracket, and then there's headlights to go over the top. I've got rid of these two vents, which is a bit of an issue, really. I would really like etched metal parts to go in there. I don't know if that's going to happen or what the story is. I believe they might be available UK, but I'm not sure. These are going to have clear plastic in them, and then they've got another piece that goes around here, metal piece or something. So I'm still thinking about that, but there's a cover over the top of them. So that goes in from the outside, but these need quite a lot of clean-up still. But it's down to size, and they're looking at it. It's a nice uniform shape, and the edge pieces are all nice, and everything fits together nice. Pretty happy with that. And there's a roof, which is actually printed in two pieces if anyone was interested. That way up and that way up, and that way you don't actually have any support material anywhere. So that's pretty nice. So probably needs a hula girl. I'm not sure that the average Foden truck driver was a hula girl sort of a person. Yeah, but the dash is pretty well finished. I think I showed that last week. I hope I did. Inside the cab's pretty well finished. There's still the rest of the heater to go on there, which butts up against the radiator nicely. It needs a good clean up. So pretty happy with that. After this huge pile of debris that led up to it, that's what I've got. Don't know about the cab sides or the wood doors. It's a whole new ball game there, but so far we've got this bit, and if I get this on and painted on the inside and undercoat and primed and filled nicely on the outside and finished, then we can start thinking about putting the roof on, and then we can start thinking about putting door side panels in. So that's another project that I put a little bit of time into on the weekend. This is done. Right? This is not probably where we're at. I had a friend, a CAD friend who's very, very good, take an interest in this project, which is the gear project, this gear for the steering, and he's produced a much cleaner, I think, profile gear. And as such, it's probably the one I'm going to be using, but this isn't terrible. That was a bit of a joint effort, the other one. This one's not terrible, but the other one's probably better than this even. So I'll print another one of these. And this is the core box, right? This has got a bit of taper on it. You can see that. It's got a bit of taper on it that way. Across the roof. So the pattern have a bit of taper on it too, mould relief, draft, whatever. And then that goes together like that. I've got a core box with packet full of sand and sodium silicate, and harden it up nicely, the right percentage and all that stuff. Then this should pull out nicely, right, like so, here, right, and this should drop nicely out here, come out. And if we've got 17 of those cores, we can arrange them around in a circle inside the mould relief or mould recess, and pour brass in them or bronze, and end up with a pretty nice bronze gear. That's the theory. So that's where we're at. Anyway, that's been a bit of a job. It's an ongoing thing, and it's going to be pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Should be very good. I'll finish it up and we'll make a couple of cores and see exactly how it all fits together and how it looks, and a decent pattern, and we might go ahead and actually make one. So that's that. It's another job we did. Beer sorted, if anyone's interested. So that's kind of all I've done. That's it. I've chased around, I've chased up all sorts of stuff, and there's been a bit of paperwork and a bit of all sorts of stuff. I've paid my memberships to the New South Wales Road Steam Association, which is really awesome. Anyone who wants a club to join, New South Wales Steam Club, they can support us. That's our club. So you should definitely pay that one up. Not a bad little club. Looking for members. Be awesome. Especially younger members. If you are younger than about 90, that's great. So that's done. What else? Stuff knows. Really? I'm not sure there's much else happening. It's a pretty quiet live stream. We're only 20 minutes in and I've covered everything. That's it. It's all done. And what else you're really interested in? The lathe's clean over there. Cleaned the lathe. Still debating whether I pull it apart or fix it properly, or whether I actually make more bits to bolt on it and not worry about pulling it down and painting it. It could do with a coat of paint. I'd really like to do that. So maybe that's a plan, but there's a lot of steamroller bits that we need before August. So chasing quotes on to get the roller and the portable to the National Rally, which is, mark in your calendars, guys. If you're going to one steam rally this year, National Rally is probably the one. If you're coming from down south, go to Glenray Timberfest on the way, and then have a fortnight's holiday and go up to the National Rally. Month off. So chasing quotes today and yesterday is a bit overdue, but there was a couple of people who were going to give quotes that didn't sort of come up with them. So yeah, quotes are many and varied depending on who does it, what sort of equipment they got, and whereabouts they are and how busy they are and all that sort of stuff. There was a North Coast based, I don't think he's at Grafton, I'm not sure where he is, North Coast Heavy Haulage. They seem to be racing to the finish line on jobs like that. Their price was excellent, their gear's excellent, I think, and their customer service was excellent. So that might be who we go with. Mixed Talent here in Brisbane or in the Gold Coast. Pretty good bunch of guys, not real cheap, but reliable and on time and all that stuff for the times that I've used them. They were quite a bit more expensive. Got a quote from Reedy Towing too, which is a Brisbane-based towing company. It's all good, but they haven't got a truck big enough to take both engines, and they put them on 2 trucks, which gives you about 2/3 as much again for a smaller truck. So that's not really in the question. So I've already owned owned a shaper and I'm not going to own another one. Might happen if there's a workshop change in the next 18 months or so. But it's not going to be a priority at all. Anyway, so that's sort of what I've been chasing today. I've been to work. It's crazy busy. It's all happening. Feet are killing me because I'm wearing new shoes. They'll be right in a few days. Apart from that, let's do some idea. This list of numbers here, right? Very scrappy, but this is the list of steps to machine the outside of these. So starting it here from the outside is 12.975 millimeters, then 0.2 millimeters in, it's 12 points, it's the same. We go through 0.2 millimeters in, it's only 12.89, and then 4 millimeters in, it's like 12.53, and then it starts to get 11.5, 6 millimeters in, 9.8 millimeters in, and 7.4, 10 millimeters in from the outside. Anyway, that's how that works. That's how I did that. Same on the inside to get that profile, which is cool. So that's for these, for the big one, and then there's another list of a set of numbers on the inside ones, and then there's another list of numbers for the outside ones. So that's how we did that. That's how I got that profile the same on both of them. CNC would be very nice, but that works. So if you want a heads up, put it all out in CAD and step off lines the right distance between your cuts and measure them and write them down, or transcribe them to a spreadsheet or whatever and print that out or whatever, if that's the way you do things. But anyway, if you don't lose track, it works. So that's another job done. Don't know what else is happening. Not very much, probably. What's everyone else up to? I noticed there was a video out from Bad Obsession Motorsport. So there's a Project Binky video out, if no one's seen that. About a third of the way through watching it when Dan rang on the way home. So that's it. And what else did I see? There will be, I guess, in the morning for me to watch a Itchy Boots video, who's in Yemen. It doesn't look like a particularly good spot to live. Genuine Randy brought home some pallet racking for shit hop. That's a really useful thing. Dan's Mr. Consistent, good stuff. Watch Aid, absolutely haven't seen anything from him. He turns up sometimes. If you go ahead and go find Aid's workshop, and you could probably send him an email. It's on the sticker there if you're interested. But go and subscribe to Aid's workshop, and maybe you'll make another video. Subscribe to Machine NZ too. That's probably a really good thing. Maybe he'll make another video as well. It's pretty cool. Subscribe to this guy too. Maybe he'll make another video. So, this guy too. He's probably making more videos than any of us. But always good content from Tea and Biscuits. Yeah, 14-foot racking, pallet racking is a bit higher probably. You need a bigger forklift. Container mast forklift probably goes that high, but only just. Just saying. Yeah, anyway. Apart from that, there's a meeting at Shenandoah Steam Shed if anyone's up for coming, about probably lots of things we need to cover. I need to make a bit of a list of things that we do need to talk about. About things like Glenray Steam Fest, Timberfest. Glenray Timberfest is not Steam Fest yet. Foraging slip. There's a meeting, yeah. If you don't turn up, the fridge, we probably won't have it. That's about the future of Shenandoah Steam Shed as a club and future of events and things, and it'd be very nice to probably have a talk too, if there's enough people present, about model steam engines, and having a table at Glenray with some of them running. But it might be more work than we actually need. But that had occurred to me. If William or whoever turns up, anyway, there will probably be beer, and it probably won't hurt Saturday night. Anyway, they're all things that are going on in remarkable progression. Stuart can definitely come up and bring some of his model steam engines. Anyone else who wants to bring model steam engines? You're probably going to get nominated for running some of them, but if you want to bring some engines down and have some fun, you've got the easy job because you fit them all in a car boot and we'll organise some tables, no worries at all. But it might be fun to have a bit of a model steams display. It'd be really cool actually. Just saying, I've got a few that I've definitely sort out, and we could set up probably a little air compressor too if we're not running them all off a boiler. Some stationaries and things. Anyway. Anyway, you have some mine to run as well. It'd be cool. So, there we go. If anyone's interested, that's a serious offer. If anyone wants to run a few model steam engines at an event under the Shenandoah Steam Shed thing, put your hand up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, there's not a lot of days. Some idiot posted, who shall remain nameless. Yeah, it was Gary. Gary posted that it's 119 days. That was earlier in the week. He posted 119 days to the biggest road run of probably the year and definitely probably of the century, which is the National Rally. And everyone's panicking to get ready. Now, he's got nothing. He's got an engine that's functional and is really quite tidy and good. I got a mess, so he's got nothing. But I know that Mark's got an engine that's going, that's in bit still, and Bill Live that's got an engine that's going that's in bits still. A few other engines as well. Mine's sort of still in bits too, but they're only minor bits. Like, there's nothing really involved in getting mine running. I think Clinton would be there with knobs on, but he needs a babysitter, which is a bit of a problem. If someone wants to bring him, that's cool. Anyway. That's what's happening. This is going back on for the next couple of road runs, which is a bit of a pain, and it really annoys me because it'd be a much nicer engine this year with a decent worm on it. It's happening. UK trip 2026. Someone who will remain nameless shared a meme with me today that says that add that certain something to you. I'm not sure how it was actually worded, but add that something, that little something to your panic attack by carrying a harmonica with you. And that seems very, very, very apt at the moment. Yeah, a few fingers need pulling out. I need to sort of get a few nights in and get some work done there. Yeah, I don't know. I worry about you and your musical instruments, Dan. This isn't going to happen. The realistic view is that's not going to happen. Water cart's not going to happen at all, which is probably a good thing. I'm a bit sad about that, but because I know not get another opportunity at any point, but it's the way it's got to be at the moment. We're going to have this pin back in the front end, we're going to have this back on, and we're probably going to spend a day at some point rubbing back and put some paint on. That's about all we're going to get done. So that's kind of it. But we'll see how we go. Dan never got his banjo, which is in some ways a blessing. I can put it that way. In some ways it's a blessing. Anyway. There might be another opportunity for a banjo, but Dan's had just enough to drink to get sad. Have another beer. You'll feel better. Anyway, so not really much happening. There's a lot of clerical stuff going on at the moment with me and Fridge. Very much so, I think. I don't know if I'm doing anywhere near as much as he is, but it feels like stuff like that's taken up a fair bit of my time as well. So, and this week I just needed some time to relax, unwind and get away from people. Politically, this world's a bit screwed from anyone who doesn't fit into the bigger picture, and a few bullets around won't hurt anyone. I'm not monetised at the moment, so I can say that. But I don't imagine that's going to happen anytime soon. But I'm getting a little bit sort of... Things are getting a little bit difficult, as sort of expected, but not much you can do about that, except if you live in Australia, don't vote for Dutton. There you go. There's something I shouldn't have to say. It's something that probably you should be smart enough to work out. If you're not smart enough to work that out, well, you kind of expect you sort of get what you have. I mean, give the people what they vote for. But having said that, there are Americans that should have been smart enough to work out that their current dear leader was a con man, but that obviously hasn't. There's still Americans I see that hasn't sunk into. So it's a Ponzi system, scheme, and a scam, and a con, and it's an ongoing con. Every day there's promises of things in 2 weeks because you've got no actual intention of delivering them, but you can get some sponsorship money on all of it. That's cool. Anyway, enough politics, but 50 bucks to vote sounds like a bargain. Yeah, it kind of is, but there's not a lot of responsibility comes with that. Is monetisation worth it? Can't be much a year. Mine runs to about 500 a year, something like that, Australian. So it's better than a good sneeze. Better than a kick. At the moment, I'm not monetised because there's been some headaches with AdSense and things, and we're getting that sorted. And in a month or so, I will be again. But I've probably missed $100, something like that. No. Well, not at this point, tea and biscuits. You may have to. Australia has a trade agreement, not that it's worth anything, but at this point they do have a trade agreement and it still covers it. So we don't actually pay US tax on that. So you have to do the maths there, but there's no tariffs on it. The viewers pay the tariff. I don't know if you worked out that's how that works. Yeah, the tariffs should probably be on membership and so forth, ad revenue and stuff. I don't know how they work that out. But it's a service, not a product, so there's no tariff on it. But I don't know how they get a bit extra tax out of you for watching YouTube. But I'm guessing that they're going to try. That's where I'm at with that. Anyway, there's no tax to Australia because there's a trade agreement. You pay tax in Australia on it, which is stuff all on $500 a year. Doesn't make a lot of difference. But it's very nice to have the $500 a year. I'm just saying. Just putting that out there. Very nice thing. When it works and when it all operates. I don't know how much bigger my channel will ever get. I really don't. I can't see it getting any bigger without making some good content, and I can't see it getting any bigger without there being some sort of controversy, etc., 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 in my channel, and a lot of new viewers is something I really don't want. So that's how that is. Now, here's the thing too, Kevin, and anyone else who's asking, with monetisation. It's paid by Google Ireland, right? It's not paid by Google USA. The money comes from Google Ireland. So I'm not sure how that works into it either. but that's how it is. So you work that one out. It's all a scheme to make the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, but I don't know how that works. Team Biscuits, you're right. Weekly videos with good editing and decent thumbnails. That's where we're at with it. I don't have time. I really don't have time to put into it. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't have the time. This week, what do I do? Saturday, what do I do Saturday? Work Saturday. What do I do Sunday? Laundry. And what else do I do? A lot of CAD work. And I messed around and finished that. Monday, what do I do Monday? Went shopping. I go shopping Monday? No. What do I do Monday? Don't know what I did Monday. Not very much. I think Monday I did laundry. And at some point I've scrubbed the bathroom too, which was really good. But Tuesday I was going to go up to the foundry. I really don't need to put the miles on my car. And that just didn't happen. So Tuesday I went, got that bit of brass. Organised some other things. Organised brakes for my car and tools and stuff. Wednesday I'm back at work. Thursday I'm back at work. Friday I'm back at work. Saturday I'm at Dan's. Sunday I'm at Dan's. Tuesday I might get to the foundry. We'll see how we go. Mark says fixing steamrollers doesn't add to the ease of doing this at all. How it is, just how it is. That's crazy, Kevin. I don't think I've ever paid tax on a YouTube payment ever. So that sort of makes it a little bit more attractive, but it's only $500 a year, and a lot of that's old videos that keep getting some sort of watch time. And it's 17 or 18 or 20 or 120 or whatever many hours on the live every week that people watch, which is really nice. But actual or edited videos is hard work. Apart from that, yeah, you sort of got to, I guess, Kevin. It still declared it, but I don't think it come up over the threshold. To be honest, it probably added to my tax bill, tax time a little bit, but yeah, probably I wrote stuff off against it too, so I'm not sure I ever paid much tax. And hopefully within a month it'll be back up and running again. I'm going to start from scratch, but they promised to pay the bit that they owe me, which is $57 US or something, which is stuff all. It's like, but yeah, about 500 a year on my channel with consistent views every week. Jeez. Shipping stuff to Australia is expensive from America. I don't know why. I actually ordered a Time Savers abrasive test box because I really wanted one for a long time, and I need one for a couple of engine builds that I want to get back to very soon after the National Rally. And it was $63 US, which was a very good price, I thought, and $190 per freight to get it here. So I'm a bit annoyed about that. but I could have bought it out of the UK for about the same price all up, but not so much of it was freight. So anyway, it's bucketing down with rain here. If anyone wants to know if it's raining, yes, it's raining. It's going to rain for another month. Don't know why. It's not fun. Stuff out of China is cheap, and shipping from China is cheap because it's government subsidised, I imagine. There's no tariffs out of stuff from China yet here, and I don't think that's a particularly bad thing. I think, yes, we need stuff to make other things, and if you can't get product from China to resell, then you're not in business, because no one in Australia is making it, same as no one in America is making it. And putting a tax on consumers when they buy something adds the tax income of the country, whether you call it a tariff or whether you pretend that someone else is paying it, or whether it's coming from China or where it's coming from. It's a tax on the consumer, and not only is it a tax on the consumer, you'll find that it's not the only thing that's going to drive prices up. The fact that you can't get stuff is going to also drive prices up. So you're going to end up paying 4 times the price on something that's no better. And maybe that'll reach the point, and I have a colleague at work who thinks that the outcome of all this is that people are going to buy good quality stuff that's made in Australia. I don't believe that that's ever going to be a thing. Because no one's got $400 or $500 to buy a pair of boots, and no one's got $150 to buy a pair of boring jeans with no designer label, and no one's got like $150 to buy an Australian toaster, or $500 to buy an Australian microwave, or any of the above, so if it's going to cost that much, people go without. It's not that they save up and buy one, they just go without. And I don't think tariffs are a very, very smart thing at all. That's freaking crazy, James. Trouble is that that's the other thing is too, that no one's going overseas and carried on luggage. If you come to Australia, that's a smart thing. Come from Australia for a holiday, expect to get the 3rd degree when you get back, and probably if you're not an American citizen, or you look like you might not be an American citizen, expect to be detained, but that's the way it works in a dictatorship. That's what you get. And I don't imagine that anyone I know, even the crazy Trump supporters 12 months ago, will be going to America for on holiday anytime soon. I certainly won't be. My last name is not Corby. I'm just saying, Peter. My last name is not Corby. Here's Stuart's finally turned up. We were talking about him too. But anyway. So there we are. The rain's really setting in now. It's going to get heavy. I've got to get up. I know that, James, and I understand that. I do believe that, but I don't think there's anyone in Australia that's sort of thinking that America's a good place for a holiday at the moment. See what happens in 6 months. If you've got a friend coming, yeah, absolutely, James. Let's give him a steam engine weekend. Randy, yes, we should have facilities at the steam shed if you want to come and stay. Be very, very, very keen. Max Peterson turned up for the afternoon, which was awesome. It was really good, and he went above and beyond to get there. Really like to see all of you. If you want to come, you want to spend a week, probably we will have some sort of a mess area that you can do that in at the steam shed eventually. It might be much nicer than sleeping in the shed, but it's certainly on the list of things to do. Anyway, that's me. I got political again. I don't really care because personally it's hurting me. Personally, I'm getting a lot of crap about world affairs in my life. I'm really not impressed about it at all, even a little bit. You've got to be polite and just smile through it. But I am personally getting a lot of crap about stuff, and I'm really not impressed. And I've got friends that are getting a lot of crap too, and you say a lot of stupid things and you don't really mean them or think them through, and I understand that, and I see people post stuff on Facebook, etc., that they don't really mean, don't think it through, and don't actually mean to hurt anyone, but it does do some damage, and the more you can knock on the head any backwards movements on any change we've had as a society in the last 10 years, 20 years, the better it'll be. So just shut people down. Not interested. Don't care. There'll be a lot of minority groups that'll be out the door. All you guys will be sterilised in America anyway because you're all autistic. Did I say that? I may have read Project 2025. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I did. And I did say that. But I'm half joking. But don't come crying to me when it happens, because that's what's probably the plan. Stuart's been nominated. Yes, we'll make that an official announcement. We'll mention it at the meeting on Saturday, unless we've heard otherwise. That Stuart's bringing up a steam plant, and he's going to sit on a chair and run a heap of model steam engines off it. Really appreciate that, Stuart. That's awesome. It's at Glenray Timberfest. 26th of July, just so you know. So that's my point on this, is that I don't usually have a political opinion, and it's probably not a good thing, but at the moment I do have a political opinion, and if you let Dutton in, you're going to find exactly the same things here as you're finding in America. We're going to have enough countries take a strong stand on minority groups and people and international trade. From a Trump perspective, you're going to find that we're going to end up with a war, and that's not a good thing from an Australian point of view, whichever side we're on. And it's not a good thing from a hobby point of view, because you don't get stuff done. It certainly hasn't done Ukraine any good, and now I think there's 30 or 40% of people in America who believe that Ukraine started the war now, so that's how that is. So Dutton's no good. He's got a head like a butt plug. That's about the nicest thing you can say about him. He's got absolutely nothing as far as policies or anything until you get up him, and then he's very defensive. Albanese is no good either. That's a bit of a problem. He's the opposition leader, or he's the leader at the moment. I think he'll get back in. I'm really fairly confident about that. While he's doing some good things, and I think from a point of view of having clubs and social funding and interest funding and mental health funding and government funding for things like STEAM clubs, I honestly think that we need to keep Labor in, which is the equivalent of the American Liberal Party without idiots. Well, they're still idiots, but they seem to be running the country okay, sort of, when you actually see them. They don't fall asleep at the Pope's funeral or anything like that. But right, Raymond says that 1984 was not supposed to be a user guide. Yeah. I can't say much except download the document for Project 2025, which was the game plan, I guess, for the Trump administration, which no one took seriously at the time, but if you haven't read it, you probably should. That's how that is. Give you some idea what's coming to all of us if we keep on with a right-wing government, because I think it's out there, and we need a little bit less in the pockets of the rich and a little bit more in the pockets of the everyday people and the poor. That's as simple as that. We need people to pay enough taxes that they don't have to feel the need to throw money at English members of Parliament to get bills passed that don't do them any good but hurt a lot of other people as well. So that's where I'm at with that. Tax the rich a little bit more, and that makes everything run a lot smoother, because they ain't going to spend it. They ain't going to spend it. If you've got more than about $15 million, you ain't going to spend it. And you're going to spend what you make off it. But George Orwell's probably nearly as good as far as the game plan. I don't know, Musk seems to think that he's going to make it to 2028 to put men on Mars, which is great. I can't see that he'll live that long, but he might. There's every chance. Putin's been in power 13 years, no one shot him, and like I've said before, I'd put a whole lot more faith in a hungry Russian than a gun crazy American, really. And none of the hungry Russians have made a bit of a stand over it, because they could have sorted that out, you would think. Anyway, maybe it's not that simple. ATO's hitting up a lot of people. They're hitting up Chop Chop Tobacco, and they're hitting up non-profits and things like that. I'd really like to see someone take a bit of a stand for things. And to actually say, well, Bill's friend, Big Fat Gina Reinhardt, has enough money that she won't have to use any of it or spend any of it, and all the others as well, and probably Dutton and Albanese are in the same boat If they've got that much money, then they probably should be paying a bit more tax. But no one's ever going to say that because they're the people who make the laws. Anyway, that's my rant, and you did lead me into it. I feel provoked, but and you're all responsible. So Stuart's coming to Glenray, which is awesome. We have a pretty good event planned. Actually, we have six portable engines and 2 road engines. That's pretty good effort for a little tin pot country steam show. Thank Dan for that. It's a pretty good effort. It's not terrible at all, really. And there's other things happening as well. We've probably got a sawmill. We've probably got anyway, that's that. So more soon. We are going to Shenandoah this weekend, so there'll be some updates when I get back, I guess, and a little bit more of a plan going forward. I'll try and post some photos and stuff while I'm down there. Last time I was down, I had reasonable reception. I don't know why that was. Maybe someone's improved the signal somewhere. But reception was better than it's ever been, so maybe that's improving and we will get to the point that I'll be able to shoot some video, but I don't know. There's jobs to do. John Creasy's got some nice steam plants too. John. John. John's, I believe, got some nice steam plants, and he's only in Sydney. John, if you're interested in coming up to Glenray Timberfest on the 26th of July for a one-day event to run a steam plant and to look after a few others, we'd be very, very much like to have you. You could opportunity to make some video. Lots of nice steam engines to run. Give you a ride on the roller. Probably even let you drive the roller if you like. Yeah, Glenray's between Coffs Harbour and Grafton. Bear it in mind. Need some RSVP at some point fairly quickly, though. Anyway, jokes aside, if anyone is really interested in that and would like to see it happen, whoever watches this video, wherever you are, whether you're up this end of the country or down in Sydney or anywhere in between, and you or even out west and you want to run some engines, some model engines at Glenray Timberfest and take that on, absolutely down. You'll have some assistance, but absolutely down for anyone who wants to put their hand up. Just saying. Anyway, I'm probably out now. We've dragged this on long enough. More than we expected, really. I'm sorry it got political, and I'm sorry that there's not a lot more progress in the shed than there should be in the workbench. And hopefully we'll have some more bits back on the roller and in a state that we can actually steam it before the weekend. It should be very nice. Anyway, I'm out, guys. Thanks, and be kind to each other. And that offer is serious and open. But if you do want to run some engines at Glenray Timberfest and you've got some models, very keen. There's good camping, good showers, good company, probably find you a meal voucher, all that sort of stuff. Hit us up, absolutely. Be very keen. Tea and biscuits could come. That'd be cool. Anyway, thanks guys. I'm out.